It had been a long, grueling week in the bustling town of Highfont, a place where 4 types of magic danced invisibly through the smoky air, permeating every cobblestone and merchant stall. The clamor of citizens hustling to and fro washed together into a steady hum. Yet, amidst the swirl of mystical practice, commerce, and intrigue, one person's life remained utterly uneventful: Depp Resso, known throughout Highfont as little more than a feckless waster of time. Depp was a scrawny man, his eyes rimmed with tired circles and his hair an untidy mop of dull brown. He wore a faded green tunic and pants patched at the knees. His narrow shoulders bore no special markings, and his pockets contained only lint and a single, tiny crystal ball he carried for comfort. He had no aura of authority, no sparkle of magical prowess like most others in Highfont. In truth, his powers were limited to projection magic and scrying magic. That, in this world, meant he could create universes inside crystal balls, and see into those universes, and absolutely nothing else. He couldn't move a barrel with telekinetic magic. He couldn't heal a wound or boost his own vitality with life force magic. He couldn't even lift a broom with magic. Many people found him useless. Depp himself had started to believe it, too. As he strolled through the market near the eastern gate, people parted around him without a second glance, as if he were a ghost drifting through the crowd. Several times, he overheard whispers, "There goes Depp, the useless one." He tried not to flinch. He tried to pretend he couldn't hear them. He tried to deny that it bothered him. But it did. He resented it, and that resentment built up inside him like rust spreading across a blade. His only solace came from his private pastime. After a hard day of failed job applications and rejection, Depp would trudge home, light a single candle in his dark attic, and sit cross-legged on his old wooden floor. He'd hold a crystal ball in his calloused hands, close his eyes, and breathe. Through projection magic, he'd conjure an entire world within that crystal sphere. He'd populate it with beings who looked up at false stars and lived humble lives, only for him to eventually let that world crash and burn with a thought. The people inside never knew why disaster struck, perhaps a sudden monstrous invasion, or a cosmic tremor. Depp enjoyed watching their panic. It was his twisted form of stress relief, a secret cruelty he inflicted because he felt worthless in the real world. In his mind, these creations were meaningless. No one valued them, so why should he? Meanwhile, not too far from that same marketplace was Bull Ree, a muscular man wearing sturdy workman's clothes, his chest marked with a faint magical tattoo indicating mastery of life force magic. Bull Ree was a local celebrity of sorts, an overworked one. He could move heavy objects using telekinetic magic. He could bolster his clients' vitality with life force magic. Everyone wanted Bull's help. They lined up outside his workshop at dawn, begging him to reinforce their barns, carry their merchandise, heal their livestock, or even enhance their farmhands with a temporary surge of energy. He could do so much, and he charged fair prices. Consequently, he had more business than he could handle. His coffers were full, yet he felt trapped by his own success. He never had time off. He was always racing from one job to the next. Part of him envied Depp, who did nothing all day and had no responsibilities. At least Depp wasn't suffocating under the weight of endless demands. When Bull Ree was in a foul mood, and that was often, he looked for Depp. Bull Ree's logic was simple: since Depp was worthless to society, he existed as a perfect target for bullying. Highfont citizens didn't really care. Depp was nobody's friend, nobody's relative, or so it seemed, and nobody's responsibility. If Bull needed to vent his frustrations, why not poke at Depp? Why not push him into a puddle or mock his useless projection magic? On this particular evening, Bull Ree spotted Depp leaving the marketplace empty-handed. Depp had tried to get a job at the bakery but was turned down. Everyone knew a bit of magic, and bakers preferred someone who could shape dough with telekinetic magic. Depp couldn't even move a grain of flour. So he trudged home, shoulders slumped, eyes downcast. "Hey, Depp," Bull Ree called, cracking his knuckles, his life force energy humming inside him. There was a faint blue glow in his eyes. Too busy being useless again? He stepped forward, voice dripping with mockery. Depp tightened his grip on his crystal ball. He looked up, trembling. He was bad at fighting. He had once tried teaching himself martial arts from scrolls he found in a market stall, techniques with fancy names like Thousand Star Punch and Whirling Comet Kick. But practicing alone without guidance left him clumsy and weak. He had never won a single fight in his life. He tried to stand his ground. "Leave me alone," Depp muttered, trying not to sound pitiful. He hated how small his voice sounded. Bull Ree scoffed and flared his telekinetic magic. A glowing swirl of energy circled his forearm. "You know the drill, Depp. You're in my way. Move." With a grunt, he thrust out his arm and used Barrel Breaker Blast. A small telekinetic shockwave kicked up dirt and forced Depp a few steps back. Depp raised an arm to shield his eyes. He might have tried to fight back with projection magic, but it was useless in direct combat. He needed hours of quiet meditation and a crystal ball to create anything. Besides, what would he do? Create a miniature universe and then hope someone inside that world would help him? Impossible. He just stood there, trembling, letting Bull Ree's frustration wash over him in the form of insults and magical nudges. After a bit of jeering, Bull Ree pushed past Depp and went on his way, leaving Depp to pick himself up from the dust. Depp felt the rage in his gut. That night, Depp would surely create another crystal ball universe and smash it to pieces, watching its inhabitants scramble as earthquakes shattered their reality. He told himself that it was harmless, that none of it mattered. But he never questioned why he so desperately needed to see others suffer, even if they were only his own projections. In another reality, within a crystal ball resting on Depp's dusty attic shelf, there stood a hero who had observed this cruelty through the thin veil separating universes. This hero was Captain Cosmic, a being of exceptional magical prowess. He had been projected into existence long ago by Depp's unconscious mind, though Depp barely remembered the details of that particular creation. Captain Cosmic had grown strong inside that universe, mastering scrying magic to peer out of his tiny world and into Depp's. He had witnessed the fate of countless universes that Depp had conjured and then obliterated on a whim. He had watched Depp's cruelty grow from mild frustration to dark enjoyment. Captain Cosmic wore a resplendent uniform, a form-fitting bodysuit of shimmering fabric that changed color with his mood, blue for calm, red for determination, gold for hope. The captain's mask concealed piercing eyes that reflected infinite starlight. He was known in his world as a champion of justice, a savior who had prevented countless disasters. Yet, he now faced the ultimate villain, his own creator. If Depp decided to destroy this universe, Captain Cosmic's people, his friends, his entire life would vanish. Captain Cosmic could not simply stand by. Thanks to his life force magic and a transformation technique he had mastered, Captain Cosmic could travel between universes by forcing all his life force into a crystal ball and leaping across worlds. He would attempt something unheard of, entering Depp's universe, the Creator's universe, to plead for mercy, and if necessary, to fight for it. While these tensions simmered, another presence lurked in Highfont's shadows. Bull Resso, the thought form born from the negative life force energies of both Depp and Bull Ree, slithered invisibly along alleyways, absorbing faint traces of despair and frustration. Bull Resso was no simple monster. He was growing stronger, feasting on the negativity emanating from Depp's humiliation and Bull Ree's overwork. He had learned a special technique from months of subtle observation. By focusing his telekinetic magic inward and sacrificing a chunk of his stolen life force, he could condense himself into a human form. Adopting the face of a generic townsman, he began to manipulate events. He whispered into employers' ears that Bull Ree was so reliable, maybe he could handle even more tasks. He spread rumors that Depp was too incompetent to do anything, not even clean floors. Thus, Bull Resso increased their suffering, feeding on their anguish, climbing ever closer to the fabled 400 life force points, a level of power that would let him dominate reality itself. That night, as Depp settled in his attic, he knelt before a crystal ball. He breathed slowly, focusing on the darkness, the tiny candle flame flickering on the floorboards. He closed his eyes and reached into his mind. He pictured a universe, a small world covered in lush forests, inhabited by gentle creatures who sang under starry skies. He projected that thought, pushing it into the crystal ball. Hours passed. Sweat beaded on his forehead. His vision blurred. Finally, inside the glass orb, a new universe sparkled to life. Tiny beings emerged, winged sprites, antlered deer, flowing rivers. Depp saw them, smiled grimly, and whispered, "Soon, your time will end. Soon, my frustrations will fade." But as he peered deeper, something startled him. Within one of the older crystal balls he had resting on a shelf, a universe he'd created weeks ago, there was movement he hadn't initiated. Captain Cosmic had awakened his scrying magic to the fullest extent. Depp's own scrying magic allowed him to see through crystal balls, and so, startled, he focused on the older universe. Inside, he saw Captain Cosmic looking straight back at him. Their eyes locked through the veil of worlds. Depp gasped. This was impossible. The beings he created never looked back. They never recognized him, the hand of their creator. Yet Captain Cosmic seemed to know exactly who Depp was. Depp's heart pounded. For a second, he felt something close to fear. Could a creation defy him? Depp tried to dismiss this as an illusion. Perhaps he was imagining it. He turned away, pulling a cloth over the crystal ball. He needed sleep. But Captain Cosmic was no illusion. That very night, the hero enacted his plan. He gathered his life force, channeling it into a single point. He whispered, "Transformation technique, star heart surge." His body glowed gold. His muscles tensed. His life force, measured at 200 points normally, skyrocketed. The strain was immense. He clenched his teeth, veins throbbing in his neck. With another spell, life force voyage. He flung his consciousness and energy into the crystal ball's membrane. He crossed into another crystal ball universe, then another, searching through the fractal multiverse. Hours of spiritual travel passed. Eventually, he burst through the boundaries and into Depp's world. Captain Cosmic emerged in a quiet alley of Highfont just before dawn. He stumbled, breathing heavily, dizzy from the inter-universal jump. His life force had dropped dramatically during the trip, leaving him feeling weaker. He needed to rest and recover. Though dawn's light was faint, he looked around, astonished. The world of his creator was duller than he imagined. The magic here was more uniform, less dramatic. He detected no grand spells shaping continents, only subtle energies flowing through everyday objects. He ducked behind a stack of wooden crates as a pair of townsfolk strolled by. He had to find Depp Resso. He had to reason with him, to show him that the universes he created were alive and worth protecting. Meanwhile, morning came. Bull Ree woke groggily, massaging sore muscles. He had accepted yet another batch of jobs yesterday, thanks to some friendly suggestions from a mysterious stranger. He had no free time again. He pulled on his work gloves and sighed. He secretly wondered what it would be like to say no for once. But no, people needed him. He was too important, wasn't he? Depp woke to an aching back and bitter memories of the previous day's humiliation. He decided to head into town, try again to find some work, any work. Maybe he could clean stable stalls or run errands. He tucked his crystal ball into a pocket and set out. As he wandered, a strange figure stepped from behind a shop's awning. It was Captain Cosmic, who approached slowly. Depp narrowed his eyes. "Who are you?" Captain Cosmic stood tall, his uniform shimmering. "I am Captain Cosmic. I've come from one of your crystal ball universes." Depp stiffened. His heart hammered. "That's impossible," he said, voice shaking. The captain raised a gloved hand, generating a tiny, shimmering portal in the air, a display of scrying magic fused with telekinetic finesse. Depp recognized the energy signature. It matched the universes he had created. Depp stared, stunned. How? How did you do that?" Captain Cosmic took a careful step closer. "Because I am real. We all are. The universes you create are not illusions. They're not disposable. They're entire worlds, filled with beings who live, love, and fear. I've watched you destroy them, my creator, snuffing them out when you're angry or frustrated. I've come to ask you to stop." Depp reeled, disbelief warring with guilt. He tried to laugh it off but failed. His throat felt dry. "They're just thoughts I project. They're not like us. They're not as real. And yet I stand before you now, flesh and blood," Captain Cosmic said, voice steady. "I am proof that your creations matter." He stepped even closer, placing a hand on Depp's shoulder. Depp flinched, but the touch was gentle. "You must learn to value yourself," the captain said softly, "so you can value what you create. Your suffering doesn't justify causing others to suffer." Depp shook his head. Tears pricked at his eyes. He felt confused and exposed. Look at me. I can't do anything in this world. Nobody needs projection magic. No one respects scrying magic. I can't move objects, can't heal anyone. I'm useless here. Why shouldn't I at least have some relief?" He knew it sounded hollow, even as he said it. Before Captain Cosmic could respond, a large figure stomped into view. It was Bull Ree, hauling a giant crate with telekinetic ease. He spotted Depp and a stranger and decided to intervene. "Who's this, Depp? Another worthless friend of yours?" He floated the crate easily above his head. "Get out of my way. I've got jobs to do." Captain Cosmic's eyes flashed. "Don't speak to him like that," he said. "Star sphere barrier." He conjured a shimmering globe of energy, pushing Bull Ree's crate gently aside. Bull Ree was startled. What the?" Bull Ree growled. He felt shown up by a newcomer. He clapped his hands together and called, "Life Force Overdrive." A swirl of greenish-blue energy surged around him, enhancing his muscles. He prepared a telekinetic strike. "Why don't you mind your own business, hero boy?" Kinetic hammer swing. He launched a wave of force at Captain Cosmic. Captain Cosmic countered with a flourish, Cosmic Stream. He fired a bright beam of magical energy that neutralized Bull Ree's attack. The two energies sparked and crackled, dissipating in mid-air. Depp staggered backward, watching in awe as these two powerful figures clashed briefly. He had never seen someone stand up to Bull Ree's bullying on his behalf. "Stop," Depp shouted suddenly, surprising himself. "Don't fight because of me." Captain Cosmic held up a hand. "I'm not here for violence. I only came to talk." He turned to Bull Ree, who was still bristling. "You treat Depp poorly. Why? Because he's not as strong as you? Because you envy his free time?" Bull Ree blinked. It was as if the hero had read his mind. Bull Ree's cheeks colored with shame and anger. "I don't envy him. He's just useless." But his voice lacked conviction. Deep down, Bull Ree was exhausted. He was taking on too many jobs. He could have said no to his clients, but he never did. Instead, he lashed out at Depp. Now this strange hero had exposed his inner weakness for all to see. "Think about it," Captain Cosmic said. "You have power, and many people rely on you. But you never learned to set boundaries. Your stress is your own doing. Don't blame Depp." He let his words hang in the quiet morning air. This unexpected confrontation was interrupted by a commotion from the alleyway. The generic-looking townsman who had been lurking in shadows, the one secretly controlled by Bull Resso, stepped forward. He had spread rumors, twisted fates, and orchestrated events. Now, feeling the tension and negativity in the air, Bull Resso decided it was time to escalate. In human guise, he addressed the three men: Captain Cosmic, Bull Ree, Depp Resso. "I've been watching. I see your weaknesses and your suffering. Let's make it worse." Before their eyes, the figure distorted, shimmering with vile energy. Bull Resso revealed himself. He let out a chilling laugh. "Ah, the negativity here is delicious. Depp's self-loathing, Bull Ree's resentment, and even your desperate heroism, Captain Cosmic. It all feeds me." He raised his arms, and telekinetic magic crackled violently. "Witness the Reaper's condensation," he yelled. Negative life force energy swirled around him, coalescing into a monstrous form nearly twice as large as a human. For a moment, he resembled a hunched demon of pure darkness, horns made of twisting energy. Bull Ree and Depp stared, stunned. Captain Cosmic clenched his fists. He had never encountered such a creature, but he understood its nature at once. This was a thought form grown strong by feeding on despair. Captain Cosmic braced himself. "Depp!" Captain Cosmic shouted. "Use your scrying magic. You can see into crystal balls, correct? Look around you. There must be magic items, crystals that can help you learn new techniques. The masters within them can teach you, if you but dare to try." Depp trembled. He had never considered that. His projection magic could create universes, and his scrying magic let him peer inside. Magic items, crystals containing projected masters, existed in the marketplace. Many people learned special techniques from them. Could he do the same? Depp had always been too depressed to try. He looked at Bull Ree, who was staring down Bull Resso. Bull Ree looked back, uncertain. Bull Ree, wanting to end this threat, decided to tap into his life force magic more deeply than ever before. He roared, "Mountain's Heart Empowerment," and pushed his life force to 150 points, causing his body to surge with vitality. He lifted a heavy wooden cart telekinetically and flung it at Bull Resso, who blasted it aside effortlessly. Bull Resso sneered. "Pathetic. I've absorbed too much negative energy. My life force is well beyond yours, Bull Ree. And Depp, you're weaker than a babe." He crackled with energy, hurling psychic blades of condensed hatred at them. Depp ducked, and Captain Cosmic blocked one strike with Comet Shield. Captain Cosmic panted. The journey here had cost him life force. He was weaker now, probably down to around 120 points. He needed a boost. He had to rely on Depp. "Depp," he cried again, "we need your help. There are magic items in this city. Somewhere there must be a crystal containing masters of special techniques. Find it, and learn what you can." Depp's heart fluttered. Could he do that? Could he be useful? Scrying magic was calm, subtle, something he could do if he focused. His eyes darted around. Highfont's marketplace teemed with stalls. Rumor had it that certain magic peddlers sold rare crystal orbs containing knowledge. Depp narrowed his eyes and tried something new. He held his small crystal ball and concentrated. He had never attempted to locate another crystal ball with his scrying magic before. He slowed his breathing, tuning out the sounds of combat, Bull Ree's grunts, Captain Cosmic's defiant shouts, Bull Resso's cackling. He felt a tug, an energy signature. He followed it. He ran toward the market, leaving the others behind. Bull Re yelled after him, "Depp, where are you going?" But Captain Cosmic understood and nodded, fending off Bull Resso with blasts of starlight and cosmic force. Depp scrambled through the marketplace. Merchants were just setting up their stalls. He spotted a dimly lit booth draped in purple cloth. On it rested a large crystal orb. Inside swirled faint silhouettes, projected masters. He grabbed it, ignoring the merchant's protests, and ran behind the stall. He placed his smaller crystal ball next to it, and focused his scrying magic. Inside the large crystal orb, he saw robed masters, each a thought form of ancient origin, teaching special techniques to those who would listen. Depp entered a trance. The masters inside saw him, a novice who had never tapped into life force magic or telekinetic magic. Yet scrying magic allowed him to witness their training. He began to learn. Slowly at first, but the masters' projected memories were patient. They taught him a special technique, winding star cross, a method of channeling life force magic just enough to temporarily boost one's own life force by a modest amount, enough to attempt rudimentary telekinetic magic. Another master demonstrated empathic condensation, allowing Depp to condense positive thought forms into tangible allies. He would never be as strong as Bull Re overnight, but now he had a chance. As Depp learned, his life force rose from a meager 100 to about 120. He felt dizzy as new energy rushed into him. His body shook with a sudden surge. Could he handle it? He remembered the warnings: if unprepared, a sudden rise in life force could be overwhelming. He dropped to one knee, panting. He felt alive in a way he never had before. He could sense the presence of thought forms. He realized that the negative energy he had poured into the universes he destroyed might have created thought forms of suffering. But perhaps he could now do something good. He gritted his teeth and sprinted back to the fight. Captain Cosmic and Bull Re were on the defensive. Bull Resso had grown even stronger, possibly nearing 200 or more points of life force. The air crackled with tension. Captain Cosmic had activated cosmic vision, letting him see Bull Resso's life force level. It was climbing steadily with every negative emotion drawn from them. They had to end this soon. Depp arrived on the scene. He clenched his fists. Bull Re glanced at him with surprise. "Depp, what are you doing?" The tone was different this time, less contempt, more genuine curiosity. Depp focused, remembering the techniques he just learned. He sensed a faint positive thought form lurking nearby, perhaps someone had felt compassion earlier. He reached out with telekinetic magic, now barely within his grasp, thanks to the life force boost. He shouted, "Empathic condensation." A soft blue aura formed between his hands. A tiny sprite emerged, a thought form of kindness. It flew at Bull Resso, distracting him with a swirl of calming energy. Bull Resso hissed, trying to swat it away. Captain Cosmic seized the moment. "Comet crash," he roared, leaping into the air and delivering a swift, life force charged punch to Bull Resso's midsection. Bull Re followed up, finally deciding to use a more combat-oriented technique he'd originally developed for construction work. Wallbreaker strike. He punched the air, releasing a telekinetic wave that slammed Bull Resso backward. Depp wasn't done. He felt guilt churning in his heart. He had created so many suffering worlds. Now was his chance to atone. He had learned to value himself a bit, enough to try something different. He concentrated once more on life force magic, trying the winding star cross. Technique he'd witnessed. White light traced a cross pattern over his chest, temporarily boosting his life force to around 150. It hurt, like fire in his veins, but he bore it. With this new strength, he attempted something extraordinary, projecting a world inside a nearby crystal ball, but this time, filling it with valiant champions who could lend spiritual strength from afar. He held a spare crystal ball overhead, sweat pouring down his face. In seconds, he created a universe of heroes inside it. Their positive energy radiated outward, and Depp used scrying magic to connect that energy to his allies. Captain Cosmic inhaled sharply as he felt the positive force fueling him, restoring some life force. Bull Re felt his fatigue lessen. The people of Highfont, watching from a distance, gasped in amazement. Bull Resso howled. You've changed the flavor of the air. Too much positivity." He staggered, losing his grip on negative energy sources. He lashed out with telekinetic fury, nightmare core flare. Tendrils of shadowy force whipped around, threatening to harm Depp and the others. Captain Cosmic would not let that happen. He activated transformation technique, Star Heart Surge. Again. His life force soared, and this time, aided by Depp's positive infusion, he remained stable at around 250 life force points. He blazed like a sun. "Cosmic Starbreaker," he yelled, plunging straight at Bull Resso, fists and knees striking in a dazzling flurry of sparks and stardust. Bull Re added his own finishing touch, finally acknowledging that he must use his gifts more wisely. Life Force Fortification. He poured healing energy into Captain Cosmic mid-strike, ensuring the hero would not tire, and then Monolith Crush. A telekinetic stomp that shattered the cobblestones beneath Bull Reso's feet, throwing the creature off balance. Bull Reso shrieked, the negative energy dissipating. Without a steady diet of despair, his power waned. He tried to flee, but Captain Cosmic produced a small, gleaming crystal ball, one he carried from his own universe. You are under arrest. Captain Cosmic declared. I'll take you to my world's supermax prison. You will not roam free to torment these people again. With a deft move, he channeled Bull Reso's essence into the crystal, condensing him into a tangible prisoner. Bull Reso snarled, but it was no use. The crowd that had gathered stared in silent awe. Captain Cosmic turned to Depp and Bull Re. Depp looked pale but relieved. Bull Re lowered his head, ashamed of his previous behavior. Captain Cosmic spoke gently, we did this together. Depp, you have potential. Bull Re, you must learn to say no. If you do, maybe both of you can find balance. Depp wiped his eyes. He had realized something important, he had value. Not because he could create worlds to destroy, but because he could learn, adapt, and help others. He glanced at Bull Re. The bigger man sighed heavily. I'm sorry, Depp. I've been taking out my stress on you. I never considered that I could choose to work less. The town never forced me to accept every job. I just wanted to feel needed. He shrugged helplessly. But that's no excuse for how I treated you. Depp nodded slowly. I'm sorry too, he said quietly. I've been hurting countless beings in my crystal worlds. I thought it was harmless. I see now that it wasn't. He looked at Captain Cosmic. Thank you for showing me the truth. Captain Cosmic placed a comforting hand on Depp's shoulder. You have a kind heart under all that pain. Nurture it. In the following days, word spread through Highfont that Bull Re had turned down a few jobs. He was polite but firm. I'm sorry, I just can't handle more work at the moment. Gradually, the workload spread to others in town, and an opening appeared at the local warehouse. Depp, emboldened by recent events, applied and got the job. It was simple work, stacking crates, but with the small life force boost and some rudimentary telekinetic tricks he'd learned, he could manage. He wasn't useless anymore. Bull Re and Depp began talking. Bull Re even lent Depp a few magic items so Depp could train further. They discovered they had more in common than they expected, both struggled with self-worth, just in different ways. Over time, they decided to open a small shop where they would offer services in all 4 types of magic. Depp's projection and scrying magic combined with Bull Re's life force and telekinetic magic could provide comprehensive magical solutions. Maybe they could even sell miniature crystal ball universes as novelties, peaceful ones, of course, and help people learn special techniques from within. Captain Cosmic, satisfied that Depp had changed his ways, returned to his universe with Bull Reso trapped inside a special containment crystal. Before he left, he promised Depp that he would try to rehabilitate Bull Reso. Even the worst villain deserves a chance to change, he said. With proper guidance, Bull Reso's shapeshifting and telekinetic powers could save lives someday. Depp found hope in those words. If a monstrous thought form could be redeemed, then certainly Depp could continue to better himself. As the weeks passed, Depp and Bull Re's shop began to take shape in a quaint corner of town. They posted a sign outside, R&R Magic Services, Projection, Scrying, Life Force, and Telekinetic Solutions. Inside, Depp arranged crystal balls on shelves, some containing friendly masters who would teach visitors basic spells. Bull Re stocked tools and materials for enhancing one's life force safely. They worked harmoniously, teasing each other lightly, no longer enemies. Customers would trickle in, and the 2 newfound partners would greet them with confidence. And in Depp's attic, the old crystal balls still rested. He looked at them sometimes, remembering the worlds he had created and then destroyed. He could never undo that damage, but he vowed never to repeat it. Instead, he projected new worlds filled with kindness and compassion. He watched them grow and thrive. If negativity flared in him, he would close his eyes, remember Captain Cosmic's lessons, and find a healthier outlet. Beyond Highfont, however, countless other universes shimmered inside crystal balls. Some were peaceful, others teetered on the brink of chaos. Rumors spread that in distant lands, even mightier gods and creatures stirred. Depp had barely scratched the surface of what was possible with projection and scrying magic. Bull Re had untapped potential in life force and telekinetic magic. Captain Cosmic's battles had only just begun, as Bull Reso's imprisonment was not guaranteed to be eternal, and other villains would rise. The balance of the multiverse was delicate, and the friendships forged here would be tested again. In quiet moments, Depp wondered about the past. Had there been others like Captain Cosmic before him? Creations who tried to speak up against their fate? He would never know for sure. And what of the future? Perhaps one day, Depp and Bullree would journey into another universe to learn even greater special techniques. Maybe they would pioneer fusion techniques unimagined by their peers. Maybe Captain Cosmic would call on them for help when Bull Resso inevitably broke free, or when some other monstrous entity threatened existence itself. For now, though, they had found peace in Highfont, a peace earned through struggle and understanding. This story began long before Captain Cosmic arrived and would continue long after. Depp Resso and Bullree, once bitterly divided, now worked together, forging a new path. The stage was set for new adventures, sequels where they might delve deeper into forbidden realms, and prequels that would reveal old secrets and origins long forgotten. The candlelight flickered in Depp's new workspace as he polished a crystal ball, preparing it for a customer who wanted to learn a simple healing spell. Outside, Bullree laughed as he helped a neighbor rearrange their garden stones with telekinesis, this time free of any resentment. And somewhere in a distant crystal ball universe, Captain Cosmic stood watch, ever vigilant, waiting for the day when old enemies might resurface, confident that this time, he would not stand alone.